another green marble crochet tutorial. And happy 1st of October. Hopefully I'll be posting this on the 1st of October if all goes well. Yes. So for this tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to make this cushion cover. Yeah. As you can see, it's slightly too big for the cushion that it's covering, which is a little bit annoying, but that's okay. Because as you've probably seen from the thumbnail, that the other cushion cover that I made, which is exactly the same, fits the cushion that it's covering perfectly. For some reason, the other 3 cushions that belong in this set of cushions have shrunk. It's quite bizarre. I don't know why that's happened. Whatever, doesn't matter, because soon I'm going to make a tutorial on a cushion, just a cushion tutorial. So I'm just going to make a basic cushion that you can insert into these cushion covers. Yeah, I will put here the dimensions that I have been working with for this cushion cover. So I'm going to measure that cushion cover, this and that. Also, this is the yarn that I used for this tutorial. I bought 6 skeins of this yarn, 2 of each colour, but I think I ended up only using about maybe, I don't know, 5 and a half, no, yeah, about 5. About 5 all up, alternating between the different colours. So that's what's happened with that. So yes, that's very exciting. Can't wait to do that. This is a very basic design, so all you need is like 6 of those skeins of yarn. Maybe 5, no 6. 3 buttons. And yeah, that's about it. There's not too much to say about it, very simple. We should probably just get straight into making it. But if you haven't subscribed, but you would like to subscribe to join me for some more tutorials, I would love to have you join me. Thank you to my patrons, who I am eternally and always grateful for your support and your kindness and just for all your help. It's really wonderful. You're really helping me to do a lot of things that I actually never thought I'd be able to do. That is very exciting. Yes, I've got some exciting things coming up that I cannot wait to share with everybody. There's a bit of stuff to work out first, but you know, it's gonna be okay. Anyway, aside from that, thank you to all my subscribers as well. Thank you for joining me. Every time you join me is wonderful, and thank you for the lovely comments that you leave. I love to read them. Also, just wanted to say, if you need help with anything, always put your comment, you know, in the comment section, and I'll read it and I'll help you as best as I can. I'm always happy to help. Yeah. All right. Yeah, a lot more to say. Quick intro, which is really good. Let's just get straight into making it. Alright, now to begin, I'm going to show you the labels of the yarn that I'm using. So for the white one, because it was different from the blue and the dark blue, so that's this one, Living Colour. See if I can focus. So that's the yarn that I'm using. The tiny details are just here. So that's specifics and more tiny details. So that's for the white one. Please pause it if you need to have a bit more of a look. And this is the label for the blue and the dark blue. So this is the brand, and then the tiny details, which are, where are we? Oh, there's this. Any more? Let's have a look. I think that's about it. Everything relevant anyway. Okay, so that being said, what we're going to do is we're going to get straight into it. So, be using my 5mm, and I'm starting with the white. So, what we want to do is we're going to grab ourselves a bit of a length, and to begin, we are making a slip knot. So to make a slip knot, just like that. Then, adjusting our knot to the hook, we're going to make a chain circle, and to do that we're going to chain 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to slip stitch into the first chain at the beginning, just there, our original chain, slip stitching to close the circle. So there we go, and that's our chain circle. Now from here what we're going to do is we're going to chain up 2, and this chain of 2 is going to act as a stitch. So what we're going to do is we're going to put 11 double crochets into the center of this chain circle. So double crochet is yarn over, insert hook, so into the center just there, insert hook, yarn over, so you see yarn over and pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that's 1, and then you've got 2, so 11 double crochets. Alright, so there I am. I've put my 11 double crochets into that chain circle. So there's like that. Now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 2 from the beginning. So that one just there. Insert hook into the top of that chain 2. So there we go. Yarn over, pull through, slip stitch to close. Alright, so our next step is to chain up 2, and what we're going to be doing is, so for this round we're going to be putting 2 stitches into each stitch, and we're still counting this chain 2 as a stitch. We're always going to be counting the chain 2 at the beginning as a stitch. So into that same stitch that we slip stitched into, we're going to put our first, well, our next stitch, our first double crochet. So that chain acts as the 2, or as one of the stitches, and then into the next stitch along. So moving on to the next stitch, we put 2 double crochets into the same stitch, just like this. Then next stitch along, another 2 double crochets. So by the end of this round, you'll end up with a stitch count of 24. So I'll meet you at the end of the round and we'll talk about what to do next. Alright, now here I am at the end of the round, and I've got my 24 double crochets around, including that chain 2 from the beginning. Now what I want to do next is I'm going to slip stitch into the chain 2 from the beginning, slip stitching, but make sure not to pull that last stitch tight, because that's going to be obviously a stitch included in the next round, including the slip stitch. So yeah, we'll get to it. So there should be 24 stitches around. Now what we're going to do is we're going to yarn over, pull through, but what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut the yarn. So I'll show you just here. I'm going to be cutting the yarn. You don't need to make the tail too long, and you're just going to pull the yarn through that last stitch that you did, and we're tying it off so that you can pull tight, but making sure that stitch just there isn't too tight. So we're tying that off because we're moving on to the next color. So to move on to the next color, we're going to put the white aside and grab a length of this blue, going to make a slip knot, and going to where that stitch is from the slip stitch, where you slip stitched into, you put your hook back through that slip stitch space, adjust that knot to the hook, or adjust the stitch, yep, the chain to the hook, yep, and pull tight. So just like that. I hope that makes sense. I don't know if I explained that well. Yeah, that's fine. Alright, now what we do from here is we chain up 2. Now what I'm doing is I actually crochet the sort of the loose threads into the work, but you don't have to do that. You can go back and use a hook or a darning needle to do it later. It's really not like a big deal. So I'm not going to go into it. Also, what I'm doing for this is, because we're increasing each round, but each round is going to be different. So for the last round we did 2 stitches per stitch to increase to 24. Now what we do is I'm going to be doing the increases for this in like the first stitch. So usually it's like increasing, anyway, I'm going to try not to complicate things. But anyway, so what we do is we're counting the chain 2 as our first stitch, and then into that same space we put a double crochet, so that's 2 stitches. And then for the next stitch, only 1 double crochet. Then next stitch along is 2 double crochets, 1, 2, and then next stitch along 1. So it's going to be 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1 till you get to the end. So, whoop, hang on. 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1. 1, 2, 1. So I'll meet you at the end of the round and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alright, so here I am at the end of the round, and I'm going to be having 36 stitches for this round. That's how many stitches we've got in total now, because you're increasing by 12 stitches each round. So what you're going to do is you're going to slip stitch into the chain 2 from the beginning to close the round, and that's what that's going to start to look like. And now that we've closed the round, we're going to chain up another 2, chain up another 2, and into that first stitch, because counting the chain 2 as the first stitch, we're going to put a double crochet. And now into the next 2 stitches we put 1 double crochet. So 1 and 2, and then into the next stitch along it's 2 double crochets into it. So you can see how the pattern is progressing. 1, 2. So the number of single double crochets into a stitch increases as you progress in the rounds. So for this round it's 2 single double crochets along, then 1 and 2 into the same stitch, then 2 single double crochets along, 1, 2. So that's how that's going to go to the end of the round. So once again you're increasing by 12 stitches for this round. We'll meet back up at the next one. I'll show you what to do there, but I think you can probably guess how it's going to increase from here. So what am I up to? Hang on, so 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah, so that's how it's going to go. And you're increasing obviously to just a little bit over the size of the cushion. So whatever the size of your cushion is, you're just sort of measuring it as you go, and once these sides overlap the cushion, that's where you're going to stop. I think for me it's about 15.5 rounds, not quite sure, but yeah, you're just going to continue to increase like this. But like I said, we're going to meet back up. I'll show you how to do the next round. But yeah, look, if you're ever stuck on anything, just ask me in the comments what to do. I'm always happy to help further if you need more. So yeah, I'll just do that. Alright, I'll see you at the end of the round. We'll talk about the next round, and then we're just going to go from there on our own till we're finished. And once we get to the end of the rounds, I'm going to show you how we're going sorry, I'm going to show you how we're going to do the sides. So, alright, see you soon. Alright, so here I am at the end of the round with a stitch count of 48. So now what I do is I'm going to slip stitch into the top of that chain 2 from the beginning. So slip stitching. Now, obviously, because I'm changing colours, I'm not going to pull that stitch at the end tight because I don't want it to, get too sticky to put the last stitch. Anyway, so now I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to cut the yarn. Cutting the yarn, and let me pull my dark blue. Oop, yeah. I'm going to pull that thread through just to tie it off, just like that. And there we go. So stitch count of 48 at this point, and putting the blue to the side, grabbing some dark blue, finding the end of that where it is. Here it is. Okay. And then once again we're going to make that slip knot. So making a slip knot, and then adjusting that knot through the first stitch just there. So the first stitch, pull that knot through, adjust, and chain up 2. Chaining up 2. Now for this round, once again we put a double crochet next to that chain of 2. So that represents 2 stitches. Now what do we do? Okay, so for this round, it's going to be 3 between every 2, if you see what I mean. So there's 2 double crochets just there, including the chain 2, then 1 and 2 and 3 along. followed by 1 and 2 into the same stitch. So that's how you can do it. You can count the 2 into the same stitch as 1, 2, and then the rest of the stitches as 3, 4, 5. Then you start again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the next round would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. Like for the previous round, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. See what I mean? So that makes it easier. So this is 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, that's the way you progressing. 1, 2. And that's how you're going to increase. So yeah, do that until the circumference measures just a little bit over, sort of overlaps the pillow. You're going to do 2 of these, so 1 for both sides. But I'm going to meet you at the end of this one because we're going to do something. We're going to be crocheting this side into the circle. So you'll see what I mean once we get to it. So yes, once we get to the end of our first circle, let's meet back up and I'll show you what we're going to do from there.